Hello dear students, as we all know the lockdown period continues and unfortunately it shows no sign of getting ended. So why can't we discuss the most important short stories and poems which are part of our syllabus to bring some ease to the academic tension that we all undergo. So today we shall discuss the short story titled A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Hello dear students, as you all know, the lockdown period continues and it shows no sign of getting ended too. So it is appropriate if we devote some time for discussions on important short stories and poems which are a part of our syllabus. So why can't we discuss a very important short story titled A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And this celebrated Columbian writer was born on 6th March 1927 and he died in the year 2014. He was conferred with the coveted Nobel Prize in the year 1982 and his fame rests chiefly on his two important novels, 100 Years of Solitude and Love in the Time of Cholera. And he is a writer who reflects the rich Columbian culture, the ethnicity, the tradition, and the innate behavioral patterns of the people. That might be the reason why the famous Colombian president has told that Gabriel Garcia Marquez is the greatest Colombian who ever lived. And we also know that he is actually the master of magical realism. And he has taken this art to its apex as a writer. And in this short story, we find he is literally bringing forth magic by fusing fantasy and realism. And the story is about two characters, the life of two characters, Pelayo and his wife Elisenda. So they belong to ordinary middle-class family in Colombia, and the life and how their life got transformed by the presence of a supernatural being in their household. That is actually the essence, the theme of the story, and how the humans, the mortals, these two human characters react to the presence of a supernatural being amidst them, and how the entire human beings, the entire people in the community react to the presence of a supernatural being, and how they react to and how they behave and how they just cater to the presence of this supernatural being is actually the essence of the story, it's the theme of the story. And the writer is being critical of the selfish nature of the people, the community, as well as even the religious against the supernatural being. And he is actually bringing forth the contrast between religion and authority, the contrast between innocent and the fake in this short story. And it's a very beautiful short story by the writer, and he is literally reflecting the Zeitgeist in all aspect. So Zeitgeist, or the spirit of the time, since he wrote the story in the year 1955 when Colombian civil war was being fought between the conservative Colombian party, and a liberal party in the country. And this civil war was called Lu Violencia. That was the name, Lu Violencia, or the violence. That was the name of this Colombian civil war, which was fought in the year 1955. And this civil war reflects the rift that is there between the liberals and the conservative party. And the Conservative Party is seconded or supported by the Catholic Church, which is a very important authority in the country. And naturally it is reflecting the rift that is there between the liberals and the government, which is seconded by the church. So in all aspects, the writer is reflecting the ethos and the thought patterns and the life of the people of Colombia during the year 1955 in this short story. So without further delay, let us discuss the short story. A very old man with enormous wings. On the third day of rain, they had killed so many crabs inside the house that Pelayo had to cross his drenched courtyard and throw them into the sea, because the newborn child had a temperature all night and they thought it was due to the stench. So the paragraph, this is the first paragraph, and he begins with an activity of Pelayo. And Pelayo is busy removing crabs which are killed by him in large numbers. So it is very strange, and why this man is killing the crabs. So it is actually a very important activity for the Colombians. And crab fishing is a part and parcel of Colombian life. It's a part of Colombian culture. And it is told that there is something called crab migration that takes place in the month of April to July in Colombia. So this is actually a very important matter for the Colombians, because the black crabs are actually very important for them. So it's a very important part of the flora for the Colombians. And these black crabs, which are black in its exterior color and with red pincers with yellow markings all over. So it's a very special crab for the Colombians. And it's told that this land crab, which generally live on the mountainous region, they literally come down during the month of April in order to bring forth their young ones. So it is mainly to hatch, it's mainly to lay their eggs and to hatch them, that they come all the way to the ocean, all the way to the coastal region. So it is told that literally an army of crabs march down from the mountains to reach the coastal regions. And this is actually, this phenomenal scene is actually depicted in this first paragraph by the writer. So without knowing this, we won't be able to enjoy the beautiful story. So here Pelayo is literally engrossed in an activity of removing the crabs which have come down in large numbers into his into the compound of his house. So it is his duty to remove, and while removing he is also killing the crabs in large numbers. So it's again a very important aspect to the play, because to this story, because it shows how much aggressive Pelayo is and how much anti-nature he is. So he is doing an activity which is against nature, which is against the laws and norms, the governmental norms of Colombia. It is told that crab fishing, catching, consuming, and even selling of crabs are banned in Colombia during the month of March, during the months of April to July. Luckily, the story takes place in the month of March. It is told that the story takes place in the month of March after incessant rains for almost 3 days. So it is exactly during this time that the land crabs, they move in large numbers, they crawl in large numbers to reach the coastal regions for their reproduction. So this is actually what the writer depicts here. So the aggressive side, the selfishness of this man is what writer presents at the very outset. So in order to save his child, and in order to make himself free of the stench, he is busy killing all the crabs, and he is very busy dumping them to the sea. So that again shows the selfishness and the aggressive nature of Pelayo. So in a very subtle way, the writer is actually presenting the selfish character of Pelayo here. And he anticipates that the sickness of his newly born child is because of the stench caused by the dead crabs in his compound. So he's busy killing and removing the dead bodies, the carcasses, in large numbers. The world had been sad since Tuesday. Sea and sky were a single ash-grey thing, and the sands of the beach, which on March nights glimmered like powdered light, had become a stew of mud and rotten shellfish. The light was so weak at noon that when Pelayo was coming back to the house after throwing away the crabs, it was hard for him to see what it was that was moving and groaning in the rear of the courtyard. He had to go very close to see that it was an old man, a very old man, lying face down in the mud, who, in spite of his tremendous efforts, could not get up, impeded by his enormous wings. So he was busy doing this strenuous activity, and all on a sudden he came across a very fantastic figure of an old man with enormous wings lying face down in the mud. So it was something unthinkable, an extraordinary sight for which he could not make any explanation. So the very first paragraph, the writer is presenting before us the crisis, and he is encountering a crisis. He does not know what to do because he has encountered a supernatural being trapped at the end of his courtyard, and he does not know what to do.